I hate this RV. I hate this RV. I hate this RV. Hey everybody, welcome back. The furnace is broken again. It turns on and then shuts off. Other times I hear a click. I'm hitting it, which makes it kind of turn back on and then turn back off. I'm assuming again it's the sail switch, but the sail switch will at least let the motor run, and this time I'm only hearing a click. So that tells me now for the 5th time that this thing is broken, it's not the sail switch. It's not the ground that I accidentally didn't have on one time. It's not the flames shooting out of the broken corner there. I don't know. It sounds like something on the circuit board is actually broken. So here we are once again, cold in the winter, back to electric space heaters, and we've got to pull this thing out and figure out what it actually is this time. But I'm really good at disassembling it now because it is super easy to do it once you've done it 9 million times. But spin the back ductwork off, and then I've made everything for now at least easily accessible that the gas line has enough room to get out of the way, and you just got to pick it up and wiggle it out of the exhaust pipe, spin it around, and there you go. So if it's a sail switch, you got to bash it and see if it does it. But like I said, if the sail switch is off, the motor will at least spin, and if the sail switch doesn't activate, then it shuts itself down because the sail switch isn't making contact, which when the sail switch gets blown open, it tells the circuit board, hey, I'm working, you can go ahead and fire up, because obviously you don't want to fire up gas and not have the motor be blowing, or else it's going to overheat and probably catch fire. So the sail switch is kind of like a safety device. As long as it works, then everything should be fine. But since I'm not hearing that, it's got to be something in the circuit board, which is easily removable. But I'm hearing an audible click on and off, so that tells me it's got to be one of these is messing up. So yeah, let's go ahead and look at this thing a little closer and see if I can figure it out. Oh, shocker, I'm getting really good at this. It is the circuit board. So sorry I didn't have that on camera. Turning it on, turning it off, I could hear a loud click and then actually feel, this is a relay. I just looked it up online. This relay is doing a real loud click, and if you tap it, it would fire up, but a second later, it was heating and then it would shut off. So this relay's bad, it's sticking on the inside or something. And what even drives that point home further is right there. You can see that back pin connector. It is burned. So it's fried out or something, or it's overheating, or because it's switching, I don't know. I did just go ahead and look up this relay online. It's $3, but I have not had good luck in the past getting things off of circuit boards where you gotta have to like heat up each one of these individually to be able to pull it off. Because usually if you start to heat this one up and you don't get everything off, I don't know, they're hard to get off. So it's either we pay $3 for a relay and I have trouble getting this off, or I found the entire circuit board on Amazon Prime for $140. So $140 versus $3, but oh god, I hate this RV so much. Well, thank God that's over with. So, Happy New Year's, everybody, or New Year's Eve. Luckily, the new board showed up, easily swapped out. Just a major pin connector here, whatever this thing is to connect a hydro flame pin. It only has one thing in it, and then there was just two over here. So, easily swapped out. Just sucks to pay $140 when I could have paid $3, but like I said, hard getting these pins off sometimes to heat them up to melt the solder, and then to be able to pull this thing out and then put a new one in and solder it back on. I've done it before, but it's kind of a pain. It's easier when you've got like two pins. So for example, like if one of these things right here were to break, it's easy just to heat one up because then you can just kind of pull it out and then heat the other one and pull it out. But when you got a big board like this, to be able to heat up every single one of them at the same time is obviously impossible. And when you're only heating one up at a time, you can't actually pull the pin out of the hole when the solder lets go because you still got the other three connected. So just a little bit quicker and easier. Like I said, on Amazon Prime, took 2 days to get this thing. So hopefully we're starting the new year off on a good sense because I don't know what else could go wrong right now. I'm just happy it showed up and we can be back onto gas heat. But if you guys are looking at RV living, please do not do it. This was a brand new Jayco Eagle 330 RSTS, and everything that is broken so far. It's not a long list, but there's been a lot of recurring things. So we've had a lot of water line leaks because they use the PEX pipes, but instead of using the Pro Press where you've got a copper ring that crushes all together equally, they've got those ones where you only pinch like the very top together and you just pinch it and it crushes it around. Well, a lot of those have leaked that I've had to cut those off and either cut the PEX and reinstall and do another one, or they were just simply the kitchen sink and the bathroom sink weren't tight enough, so we had to tighten those up. The kickouts on the living room and the master bedroom are the same type of kickout. This one is different for the refrigerator and the entire living room. All of those, they had some flashing and the outside face kind of pull away. Therefore, water was able to get in and introduce into the OSB flooring. That sucked all the water up, soaked the carpet up, mold, mildew, disgusting smell. We had to dry that out and clean the carpets, and then we had to get new flashing that would go on the like plastic side that this thing's made out of, or fiberglass, and get that flashing to go down and under around, and then put their flashing back up over, which was not tight enough because again the floor sank, and I had to do that to all four sides of two on here and two on the bedroom. So that was a huge deal. The furnace has gone out 100 times. We've had the gas blow out. We've had the sales switch go out. I took it into the dealership to have them run diagnostic testing, which, again, I believe it was their fault for breaking the furnace because they let it run for 2 hours straight, and that's probably what weakened that gas spot right there where the flame shot out of the steel because it got too hot too long. And in the wintertime, when this thing runs at a maximum of maybe like 20 minutes, the pipe does glow orange. So to do that for 2 hours, you clearly weaken the steel and it made it vulnerable to blow out. And when obviously you heat up steel and don't submerge it in water, you don't like reintroduce its strength to it. You just weaken the material and separate it, and eventually you had a blowout. So we had to get that done. And again, the sales switch, the thing breaking, now the circuit board breaking, the AC has broken twice. One time there's a wire that goes in the coil. It's a temperature sensor. So if the coil freezes up, the AC will like turn itself off or something, or not start to flow the Freon. So the AC has time to melt. And that temperature sensor, Jayco decided to put that sensor in there and then lay the wire over top of the metal ductwork coming down into the ceiling. So as the wind blew down in, that wire would sit there and just get bounced around on the metal sheet metal, which of course then severed the wire over time because it's a real small, like 28 gauge wire. And once that's severed, the AC will turn on and blow, but again the Freon won't flow because it needs that wire to
regulate and see the temperature, and of course it was severed, so it wouldn't work. So that was a huge deal. Had to rip that all apart. Thought it was compressor, thought it was a freon leak, etc., etc. To get to that wire, you actually have to rip the box apart and break all of the seals and everything. And that took, you know, a day and a half of diagnosis to find out before I finally decided I got to rip into it further. But siliconed it all up. Everything's been fine with it. Got that wire out of the way, and everything's been good with that since. Until this past summer, it started to rain on the inside of the RV, and that is because the collection tray for that water that has little tiny pinholes on each side where the water will drain out and then away down the ceiling or the roof of the RV. Those got clogged, so all of the water decided to funnel up and build up and then rain down in through one of the internal vents and flood the inside of the RV like it was the middle of a downpour. And had to find that out and drill those holes out bigger and get the sediment out of there. Another one, we had the hot water tank explode. That was my fault. We used our hard water, which is 5 times normal hard water. The calcium, magnesium, and everything, etc., built up in between the electrical rod and the gas flame pipe on the inside, because the hot water tank can use both, either propane or electric. And once all that calcium and magnesium and everything built up, there was no place for it to expand and contract anymore, and it blew out the side of the tank and heard a huge loud pop. Water went everywhere. Shrapnel of calcium and magnesium and everything went everywhere. So had to pay $500 plus for a new hot water tank and get that installed. So that was a good week without hot water or anything. So that sucked. Last time the furnace went down, we blew an inverter wire because we were using the space heaters on the same circuit. It overheated, or actually no, it wasn't the same circuit. It was the circuit over here for the TV, the refrigerator, an outlet on the stove, and that was run off of inverter power, which is DC instead of the AC actually over here, which actually uses like a 15 or 20 amp breaker. And that overheated one of the inverter wires, and then another inverter wire actually just came out of its spot. No clue how a wire just comes out of its spot and another one overheated and, you know, started to get charcoal color. But we have to remember that from now on. Anything on that over here besides the refrigerator and the TV, basically don't install anything that has huge wattage. Make sure you hook it up to the AC power, and we just plug the inverter wire back in, keeping an eye on that brown wire. It's not too badly burned, but we just need to keep an eye on it so it doesn't go bad. And then 2 other things that have broken. These are maybe kind of our fault, but not really. This one, these light fixtures here, I have broken this one because I'm taller and it's sticking out really close. So if you go to lean over here, you can see my head accidentally hit that because I wasn't looking up. So we smashed one of those. And then just a couple weeks ago, Aaron was doing cooking and got finished up. This plate right here bends down, and all of this glass would bend on down. It's on like a double hinge, and that would cover this up. So if you need to like set something down on there, you've got more surface area. And she had set it down, and the oven had been off for a minute, and all of a sudden she just heard a loud explosion, and all of that glass just exploded everywhere. And like I said, it's not the first time that you've been done cooking and it's cooling off and we put that down, but I don't know if it was maybe too cold that night and the temperature variant was different, or that glass had just weakened over time and it eventually exploded it. But I don't think we can replace that. Jayco and the dealership aren't finding any help with that light fixture over there. The light still works, but we can't get the glass fixture here to actually get replaced. So don't know what we're going to do about that one. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, I think that's everything that's broken in the RV. I just remembered another thing that goes wrong with the RV. Jayco says that this is a 4-season RV, and it is not. It is not a winter RV at all. Underneath of the RV, in between the two steel I-beams, all there is a thin little 1/8 inch piece of plastic that goes underneath of it. And on the other side of that plastic, there's absolutely nothing. You look up and you see OSB subfloor, and you see all of your water and gray and black holding tanks. There is absolutely zero insulation. So the floor absolutely freezing in the wintertime, and because there's zero insulation wrapped around or anywhere near any of the holding tanks, your water will freeze, your gray tank will freeze, and even your sewage black will freeze. So don't know how you can get away with calling it a 4-season when you forgot a massive part of insulation on it, but shame on you, Jayco, for calling it that and getting away with that. Besides the huge mice problem that we have, that we hear them running through, Spitz, our big cat, he's gotten 3 mice now, and I've got poison now all throughout the ceiling because I just can't take it anymore. Our mousetrap thing that is now sitting outside, it's gotten 2 or 3 in here, but I think they wised up to it and they weren't using it anymore. So we put it outside so they weren't chewing a hole through my garage door again. But yeah, I don't have that getting the mousetrap working anymore. So hopefully I've had to resort to the poison. So maybe that will take care of them for now. But yeah, if you guys are thinking about RV living, do not do it, or do not buy a brand new one. If someone were to buy this one day, I can at least guarantee you everything's been fixed 100 times and maybe fixed a little bit better. For example, again, the drainage holes in the AC. But if you're going to do it, don't do it, because it is an absolute nightmare and you're going to spend a fortune either taking something to the RV or the dealership, or you're going to have to be really good at replacing it. So again, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope your year starts off better than the way ours is starting, but at least the day before we actually got it fixed. So until then, short little video, not introducing or not going with the house, but at least we got another one out to you guys, and fingers crossed, or you can pray for us that this doesn't happen again, but I got a feeling it will. So till next time, we'll see you guys later. Take care.